The 2020 Mid-Autumn Festival, also called Moon Festival, happens to be on October 1st this year. The festival, on August 15th each year on the Chinese lunar calendar, is the Chinese Thanksgiving. Many people travel to meet with their families. This year, there are 12 people on the mind of a lot of Hongkongers. They are the 11 young men and a woman arrested on August 23rd on their way fleeing to Taiwan. The Hong Kong Public Opinion Research Institute released a survey result on September 18th. Overall, 60% of the survey participants supported the question, should the Hong Kong government ask for the 12 Hong Kongers detained in mainland China to be transferred back to Hong Kong? The support rate is 90% among the self-identified pro-democratic people and 30% among those who say that they are not pro-democratic. Hong Kong activists and district councillors have organized various street activities, what Hong Kongers call as gai zam, literally standing on the street, to collect goodwill in postcards, and will mail the postcards to the 12 Hong Kongers. They're being detained in the neighboring city of Shenzhen. Chinese police have said the 12 were suspected of illegal border crossing. For more details, please watch our previous clip about the disputed location of the arrest. Hundreds of Hong Kong democracy activists and protesters have left the city by sea and air over the past year or so, according to Reuters. The families of some of the 12 activists, including a 16-year-old, held a news conference on September the 12th, masked and hooded to avoid identification. Appearing with 2 Hong Kong lawmakers, they made a plea to Chinese authorities to allow the detainees to contact family members and be represented by independent lawyers. On September 20th, some relatives held a press conference outside the Hong Kong police headquarters to express their frustration with local authorities. "We want our son back, even though we can't visit him. At least give us a photo or letter from him to confirm that he's there," said the father of one detainee, Li Ziyin. The relatives also asked police to give an account of the date, time, place, and process of the arrest, and whether there were any injuries or casualties, and the Marine Department to release radar records of the day of the arrest. Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie was asked at her weekly news conference on September 22nd if she could ensure that the 12 would be afforded human rights safeguards such as the presumption of innocence, fair trial, and legal representation. "We do not have the legal basis to do the things that you want us to do," she said. Mainland authorities have said the legitimate rights of the 12 were being protected according to the law. China's legal system is controlled by and loyal to the ruling CCP, meaning courts do not usually challenge party or government accusations. Carrie said that the 12 would have to face the law in mainland China before they could return to Hong Kong to face justice for any crimes committed at home. All 12 were suspected of crimes in Hong Kong related to anti-government protests last year. 10 had been charged, released on bail, and not allowed to leave the city. Wang Weiying, one of the 12, left a short farewell letter to his wife. "I am sorry and thanks for accompanying me throughout the years," the handwritten note found on a desk at their home read. "I am sorry that I can't walk with you anymore. Please take care of yourselves." Wang, 30 years old, an unemployed dock mechanic, facing criminal charges relating to his participation in the protests last year, had scribbled his message to his wife and his mother on a page torn from a notebook. He apologized for not repairing their ramshackle house before he departed. "I still haven't had the time to fix the rooftop of our home, but I'm afraid I won't have such a chance anymore," he wrote. "When I heard that he's still alive, my heart lit up," said Wang's wife, who shared parts of her husband's letter with Reuters. She said the note was taken by police as evidence, without any further explanation. Hong Kong police declined to answer Reuters' questions on its investigation. "But soon I became very nervous," Wang's wife said, after learning her husband had been detained in mainland China. Fearing he would not receive fair treatment there, she said she often wakes up from nightmares. Both she and her mother asked not to be identified fully because of the sensitivity of the matter. He doesn't need to worry about us. I will safeguard this family with his mother, Wang's wife told Reuters. I will wait for him for the rest of my life. Their fate is being closely watched in Hong Kong amid apprehension about Beijing's greater control over the city, especially since it imposed a national security law in June.
As I watched the press conference that the parents of the 12 young Hong Kongers that were disappeared into mainland China were giving, you could see that all of them were hiding their faces, all of them were scared to speak, and everybody was devastated. It just, nobody wants to live under CCP-style rule by law. And this is not something that this is not Hong Kong's people's fault. This is because of choices that were largely made outside of Hong Kong. Yet it's Hong Kong people that have to bear the brunt of it and that are now forced to live under this horrific arrangement where they cannot speak, where they cannot show their faces, where they can be disappeared. So I really just want to use my final closing word for everybody to pay attention to this. This is going to be repeated. Everybody has to really unite to fight back against this to make sure that Hong Kong can be saved.